لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ما لنا رب سوى لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. Regarding the realities of the names or those things that were given these names, you remember Allama Rahmatullah Alayh has the idea that because everything was included, Allama Adam al-Asma kullaha, everything was included. And on the other hand, they had intelligence and understanding, so they can only refer to those things which are in the treasure of God, from which everything else has come down. In min shay'in illa indana khaza'inu. So by referring to those khaza'in, those treasures, Allama is trying to find two qualities together. One is to be inclusive, and second is to be intelligent. Okay? Because aradahum ha'ula needs to be for something intelligent. On the other hand, asma kullaha. So, according to what I can articulate, Allama himself looked for something in this world that had these two qualities: to be inclusive and to be intelligent. The best thing that he found was the treasures of God, because everything comes from there. In min shay'in, so everything that you can call shay comes from there, of course, apart from Allah himself. Everything which is created, everything which is in this world comes from those treasures. And because even intellect comes from there, even understanding, knowledge, everything comes from there, so that must have intelligence. Then Allah somehow wants to connect those treasures to the Hujjaj of Allah, to Ma'asumeen and those who are caliphs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was thinking that perhaps there is another way of understanding these verses. And this is in continuity of what I said in the last week. We said وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ. If you remember, I said that this home doesn't refer to asma. This home refers to the things that had some names. So Allah taught all the names to Adam, then asked angels to inform about certain realities. So what are the names of these things? Okay? And they said, we don't know. And then Allah told Adam, you should inform them. And it is interesting because sometimes there are people who ask you something that they themselves don't know. Even, sometimes people go for interview, for example, those who examine, they ask them something that they themselves never knew. So they tried with this, poor, with this poor, student. They said, what is the explanation of this, and that person doesn't know. But he himself also doesn't know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Adam, you inform them so that the angels would be completely satisfied that Adam knows the answer. It's not just the angels who don't know answer. Okay. Now, in continuity of that, I want to say this. Of course, Allah knows better. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا refers to everything. But perhaps the test was not to inform about everything. Imagine, for example, all the realities are 1,000. Just for imagination. If all the realities were 1,000. I don't think the test was about all the 1,000. And then the angel said, we don't know anything. Even one of them. If the test was about all of them, and Allah had asked them about all of them, for sure they knew at least some of them. It's not that they are completely ignorant. They don't know anything. You get the point? So Allah taught Adam all the names. Then, in my understanding, asked the angels to inform only about some of the realities that had certain names. And those were intelligent. Not everything. So, for example, in that 1,000 names, there were angels themselves. Yeah, there were many simple things, and angels may have known them. But there were some very special things, like ma'asumin, like those who are khalifatullah. And perhaps angels didn't know those which had intelligence also. Arazahum. Because if they had known everything about Hujjaj of God, they would never ask Allah why you are going to choose your Khalifa from human beings. You understand? They knew negative things about human beings, but they didn't know all the good things about human beings. And Allah said, "Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun." So, allama Adam al-asma' kullaha. Allah taught Adam everything. And we have hadith that names of all the mountains, valleys, everything were taught. But what about the test? The test was about something very high, very important. Something perhaps like ghaib as-samawat, something very special. Not about all those things. And those special things are intelligent, because it says arazahum ala al-malaika faqala anbawni bi asma haula, and they said we don't know. Only about those things. Not about everything. If everything which had a name was the question Allah asked angels about, then they must have said, we know certain things, but we don't know all the things. Okay? So, I think this is an explanation that can, make us better able to understand what happened and why, they said we don't know why home is used, and why in some hadith it says that these were hujjaj of God. There is a hadith. إن الله عز وجل علم آدم أسماء حجته كلها ثم عرضهم يعني حجج وهم أرواح على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء Ha'ula refers to some individuals. Okay? And there is no conflict between this hadith and those hadiths which says everything was included. Asma'ul awdiyati wal nabati wal shajari wal jabal. Because allama adama is inclusive, but the question, the test was focused on something that has aql. And in this way, I don't think we need to use the concept of those treasures from which everything comes down. The question is about certain individuals. Ha'ula. It's very difficult to use the concept of ha'ula for those khaza'in. You know? So this is my understanding.
If the angels didn't know about the Ma'asumin, then how do you explain the hadith that says that the angels learned how to remember Allah from the Ahlul Bayt themselves, from the nur of the Ahlul Bayt? Or the hadith that said that the angels are written on the arch. Those hadiths that talk about
I don't say that they didn't know anything. I said they didn't know everything about them. So they could see them. Because you know when Allah says Anbi'uni bi asma'i ha'ula, so they can see them. Yeah? Because you cannot say inform me about names of these things without seeing them. So they had some encounter with them. They had some experience. Perhaps they could see the light, but they didn't know how to explain. What are these things? Are these human beings? Are these what? They didn't know. So they didn't know everything about them. You know, like for example, you see some new machine here, you see it, and you know certain characteristics, the weight, the size, but still you say, I don't know what it is.
But he would just asking from the name or the reality.
No, name, as we said, it is not just, no, when we say name, here doesn't mean just few letters. For example, what is this? This is Ali. Ain Lam Ya. This is not name. When we say here, Allama Adam al Asma kullaha, doesn't mean that Allah gave him, a directory of all the names, like, you see it, like telephone directory. So Allah gave this to Adam. No. Name means to know the reality of them. To know what are they made from, what is the purpose, what is the function, what are the qualities. Yes. Yeah.
My question is that this exam is not in an equal situation, because if Allah doesn't teach the angels the names, so that angels cannot say the name isn't shown, because Allah has taught the names to others.
Okay, this is what we said last week, that Allah didn't teach angels because they didn't have capacity for that. Because if they had capacity, they could have said, oh Allah, you didn't teach us and you taught Adam. If you had taught us, we would be able to answer. But then say, Subhanaka, La ilman lana illa ma 'allamtana, means that there is no discrimination. It's not that Allah has discriminated against them. If they were not taught, it's because they were not able to be taught. They didn't have capacity for that. And even for Adam, this is my understanding, I don't think to know the names actually was a condition to be Khalifatullah. The potential for knowing all the names was a condition. Not to know actually. Yes, what's your question? No. The answer is ما جعل الله المشمشة مشمشة بل أوجدها. No, but it is a rule. So it's not that Allah made, for example, Adam haywan or natiq. Adam is haywan and natiq. Allah created Adam because everything has essential qualities. Either you create it or you don't create it. You cannot change it. Mishmisha is mishmisha. Every fruit, every plant, every animal, every being has its own quality. Okay? So either you have angels or you have human beings. You cannot say, I want angels with qualities of human beings. This is not possible. No. Angel with qualities of human beings is not angel. This is Shira biyalo domo ishkam. Then it is neither human being nor angel. You cannot change the mahiyya, the quiddity of something. If it is changed, it's another thing. So this rule is very important. Remember it for the first night in grave. ما جعل الله المشمشة مشمشة بل أوجدها.
What's the difference between allama and anba'a?
Allama means to make them understand, to pass on the knowledge to them. But enba means just to introduce. It's can be much less than ta'aleem.
But when you call it or use this name anba'a or allama, I think you know.
For example, a teacher would not say to his student, allimni. He would say, anbi'ni. Yeah?
About something I don't know anything about it, I can say allimni or anbi'ni, both.
Yeah, if you don't know, and if, for example, you want to have some general information, sometimes say, anbi'ni, sometimes say, inform me about it in details. And therefore, فَلَمَّا أَنْبَأَهُمْ بِأَسْمَائِهِمْ, Adam informed them, but maybe Adam didn't teach them. Because if Adam had taught them, then it means that they had capacity. Yeah? Gave them some information, but not everything. Of course, there is also a possibility of saying that what we said, I think last year we had this discussion, that maybe angels learned something also from Adam. Maybe creation of Adam was increasing their capacity. Maybe. But not become like Adam. Okay. Not at all. Learning everything. Yeah. They didn't have capacity for learning everything.
We learned in the Bahs of Shah that growth is only possible for human beings, not for angels. Because otherwise we say that angels have some evil because they have an accident that they had before they acquired the new capacity.
According to those scholars who have philosophical approach, normally they believe angels are mujarrad tam. They are completely, abstract. Therefore, there is no change in them. But it is not something that all Muslim scholars accept, or even all Shia scholars accept. Those who have more, tendency towards hadith, they don't accept this.
Because it's also to reject the figure story, right?
Yeah.
The implication of your saying is that the capacity of angels
is not infinite. I don't say it is fixed. I say it's not infinite. You understand the difference? So maybe, for example, for some angels, there is a capacity for learning 1,000 names. Another angel 900. Another angel 800. Okay? They have different ranks. And maybe this can increase a little bit. But they don't have capacity for learning everything. Indeed, in angels there is nothing infinite. I think I discussed this here, no? And this is amazing. Despite all their, honor and great, position, there is nothing infinite in angels. But in human being, there is possibility of infinite progress or infinite regress. And this is one aspect of nafakhtu fihi min ruhi. There is something from God in us that gives us ability to expand without any limit or to reduce without limit. Yes.
So then, do they have a choice in whether they can learn or not, or increase their capacity or not? Is it by choice?
According to whom?
According to the reality of things.
Everyone says what he thinks is reality. I don't have decisive, view. Here, I am not very clear. I think there is a chance that they can have some kind of choice, a little increase or decrease.
Does that open a lot of problems?
It opens some problem, but also solves some problems. If you want to, be more lenient towards Quran and Hadith, you have to open a little space of, change for angels. Yeah, but is he a philosopher or is he theologian? Maybe he is more, I think, leaning towards theology and hadith. Yeah.
He talks about the groups of philosophers, not by hadiths. He rejects groups of innovations of philosophy.
Yeah.
So it just means that some say that angels have different ranks. Some of them are.
Yeah, but for everyone, its rank is fixed. ما منا إلا له مقام معلوم.
Some of them are in this material world and they change.
Philosophers don't say this. Normally, they don't say this. But it's possible. As I said, it's difficult to say 100% they never change. Maybe some of them can change. But that change is not also unlimited. For example, no one can become better than Jibreel among angels. Or even Mikael, cannot become better than Jibreel. Or Jibreel, is not possible to do some, sin and, become worse. So these are the things that we understand from Hadith also. That in them there is no shahwa, there is just aql. But maybe to some extent there can be differences, a little change.
So is it possible for human beings to become better than others?
Sure. Because they don't have shahwa. If human beings who have shahwa, who have lost, they act according to aql, they become better than angels. Not every human being, depending. But for example, Rasulullah was better than Jibreel.
So you say that that was only the case because he was a prophet.
But why he became a prophet? Through his free will. Through his piety and taqwa and remembrance of God. Jibreel is created as Jibreel. But Prophet Muhammad was not created as prophet. He achieved that. Abduhu. He achieved servitude to God, and then God made him his apostle.
So you're saying there is room for angels to progress, because you're saying that
A little. Maybe there is a little room. But not so radical that, for example, a second or third rank angel becomes better than Jibreel. No.
How do you understand this like on a metaphysical level? Like, for example, if you're saying that human beings can progress infinitely, then up to where can, for example, human beings go that angels can't? What are you trying to say here? What is that referring to?
So, this famous hadith that the Prophet said, when the Prophet went to Mi'raj, Jibreel said, لو دنوت عن ملتان لاحترقت. That was beyond his capacity. If he wanted to go further, he would have been exploded, he burnt. But the Prophet went further. ثم دنا فتدلى فكان قاب قوسين أو أدنى, even maybe less than قوسين. But Jibreel Jibreel can go closer. This is also in the line of what I said. He can go a little bit closer, but he cannot go to the end. There is a limit for him. He can have some kind of flexibility, but more than that he cannot go.
What kind of closeness is that? Of course, it's not physical closeness.
Yes, it's not physical.
How would you describe?
It's closeness in the sense of being in highest levels of perfection, so that you are more similar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are closer to Him in His qualities, in His perfection, in His goodness, in purity.
Cannot know more than
Oh, Adna. No. The Prophet never reaches God. But there is no fixed border. Next time he can go a little bit further. But he never reaches the end. We will never be infinite, but also there is infinite capacity. Do you understand? Because if we are infinite, then we are God. We are not God, but we have capacity which is infinite. So whatever you have, you can imagine to have more. Yeah? But you can never reach the point that you are absolutely perfect. That is God.
In the case that if it is not reachable, it doesn't make any sense to say our capacity is infinite.
Why?
It is not reachable.
Why do we have capacity?
So that you can go, you cannot become like God. Okay? But you can always become closer and closer. There is no point that you are said, okay, it's end of the journey, and if you come one step further, then you become God. So you have to stop here. There is no such a thing. Yes.
There is a dua referring to Ahlul Bayt, ليس بينك Allah, ليس بينك وبينهم
لا فرق بينك. Yeah.
Allah is the absolute perfection. And لا فرق بينك وبينهم, since they have such a perfection. If they have that kind of perfection, means they are at the end of this journey.
No.
There is nothing more to do.
إلا أنهم عبادك means that there is no difference between you and them except that they are created by you. And then all the implications which come for being created.
No, there is not one difference.
Okay, then from this difference, all other differences come.
No, it's the opposite.
No.
لا فرق
أنهم عبادك. Okay, and because they are ibad, then all the implications come.
Why don't you?
They are limited. They are weak. They die. All these things come.
Why don't you return to the other side? لا فرق بينك.
Okay. إلا أنهم عبادك.
They deserve it.
You know that poem which says between Ahad and Ahmad there is one meme. The difference is one meme. But Jahani در این meme غرق است.
So they can't say لا فرق بينك.
We can say.
There are many different.
We can say, but we have to say it with understanding. When we say they are created by you, then all the implications
Like to say
come.
there is only one. There is no difference between you and them unless one happens. Because
But those 1,000 come from one thing.
We can answer this by saying like what they say is not different between them and Allah. They have that all the sifat of Allah they have, but because they are created, which is the fact, it means that all the sifat are limited because they are created.
Eh? It's a big difference. It's a very big difference. And therefore, you cannot worship them. You cannot ask them to do anything independent from God. These are big differences.
because they are acts.
They are created.
They are perfection.
Even their perfection is the perfection of abd, not the perfection of master. A servant, no matter how good he is, whatever he has is from his master. And by no means he can be compared to his master. If a servant is compared to his master, this is ridiculous. Because it's like shadow and the person. Say, oh, there is no difference except that this is shadow. Understand? What is the difference between shadow and the reality? It's just shadow. But so many things come from being shadow.
You don't say la in a person and its shadow.
Yes, you can say.
La
We are not even shadow of God. Even ma'sumin cannot be considered as shadow of God. They are creation of God, not even shadow of God. God has no shadow. Yeah?
Where does Dua explain?
The month of Rajab.
I wanted to say something about previous point about Asma.
Okay.
Can we explain in this way that, for example, I know that Asma is good for me, but when the doctor says this, he knows exactly those effects that I can have those effects in my body. So there's difference between only hearing something and knowing that exactly.
Yeah.
This is what you said, yes?
Yeah. You know, there are people who sell medicine in Nasir Khosrow, for example, in Tehran. They know names of all the medicines, but they don't know what are these medicines. You cannot say these are, for example, people who can prescribe. To know names is not just like those people that you know the names. It means to know the purpose, the function, the quality, all these things.
The meaning of Amberuni showing the reality of Asma in this way.
Anbeuni is more general. أنبئوني can be used for teaching or just giving some introduction. أنبئ is a very general concept. Unlike ta'lim, ta'lim is more powerful.
And before this was
Allama Adam. But Allah said to angels, Anbi'uni, and also told Adam, Anbi'hum, not Allimhum.
maybe it's not possible for Adam.
Or for angels.
Yeah. Both of them.
ضعف الطالب والمطلوب, perhaps. Okay. Then we go to the next passage. And you remember I said this is not something which happened at the end of the previous section, after the test. And therefore Allah says, وَإِذْ غُلْنَا. It's a new approach to the story. You know, sometimes you say one story according to the chronological order. Sometimes you mention it in different episodes by different, approach. Okay? So, for example, sometimes you say, in the year so and so I came to Qom, then next year I did this, the year after I did this, everything in order. But sometimes you talk about your studies. You said, first year I studied this, then, for example, you come up to the, previous year, but then you say, for example, then I married in this year. This happened in the between of the previous account. You understand? Or I started teaching in this year. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning something about the issue of khilafah and the test, then starts the story from another perspective. And that is about sajdah, prostration. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أُسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ. We said to the angels, prostrate before Adam. And of course, Shaitan was not an angel, but because he was always, with angels worshipping God, so somehow he was connected to them, was counted as one of the angels, but not really an angel, because he was from jinn. Kana min al-jinn. So, فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسِ. All the angels did the sajdah except Iblis, and this is istisnai munqatih, we say, disconnected, because he was not one of the malaika. Just like, for example, جاء القوم إلا حمارا. That Hamar is Iblis. Yeah? Who didn't come? No, he was in, like, when those people are invited, their Hamar is also invited. Okay? Because they cannot leave their Hamar there. They can. But Allah addressed angels. And by implication, he wanted also Iblis to do sajdah. Because in other verses, Allah says, for example, Ma mana'aka. Allah tasjuda is amartuk. So he was commanded, but not directly, by implication. Allah didn't say, Ya Iblis usjud la Adam. He didn't deserve this. Yeah, it was not that valuable. So Allah said, O angels. But he was by implication included.
When you say that the Shaitan was among those angels who are talking the previous episode,
Among, you mean he was an angel?
among the angels who are talking
Among, in what sense?
about creation.
In what sense?
in the rank of angels.
He was with them like Hemar, who is with the people. They all the time go everywhere with their donkey.
The one who had
But
the
it's
one
not
who
in
had
the same rank.
Pardon?
Emor is not in the same rank of human being, but angels, after worshipping God many so long years, reach to that point.
But his nature was not nature of an angel. You know, because of ibadah, temporarily he was with the angels. Temporarily. He didn't become angel.
He was capable.
You know, like even human beings. Maybe a person today is very pious and he is in the rank of angels or even better than some angels. But if tomorrow he commits a sin, he goes down. For example.
Satan potentially is capable to reach even to the better point of angels or not.
Yeah. Because they have, jinns have ikhtiyar. They are like human beings. They have free will. Therefore, if they become pious, they can be better than angels.
So in this regard, it's not strange to regard Satan.
Yeah, but I said that he was not an angel by quality or essence. Therefore, he lost it. So for some time, when he was acting nicely, he was with the angels. But then he lost the quality. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind that if you are going to become tomorrow the most vicious person, today he doesn't treat you as the most vicious person. He says he is going to commit sin tomorrow, but today I don't withdraw my mercy. Okay? Therefore, if you feel that you are very close to God and even, you have some beautiful experiences, you shouldn't think that this is going to remain. Don't think that if I was going to become a bad person, Allah would not have given me this. No. Maybe today you shake hands with angels and tomorrow you are a very bad person. It's possible.
Is the capacity of shaitan or jinns as well as
Yeah.
capacity of human beings?
Yeah.
They have infinite capacity.
They have, but not in like human beings. In the positive point, they are less than human beings, especially when it comes to their determination and understanding. Therefore, they follow human prophets. In being bad, they can be as bad human beings, or what. But in being good, because it needs understanding and determination, angels are not that capable as human beings. Therefore, they follow our prophets. Even human beings can control jinns. Okay?
Jinn can control human.
No, jinns cannot control human beings.
So in this sense,
Make
here
something with them and
Yeah.
comes to their heart and do something.
That is when you want to be controlled.
so in
No one, even Shaitan, Iblis, who is a great jinn, cannot control you unless you want. ما كان لي عليكم من سلطان. It means that no one can control you. No magician, no jinn, no one can control you if you remain strong. Pardon?
But nobody likes to be controlled by Shaitan.
No, there are people who like to be controlled by Shaitan.
in hereafter, shaitan and jinn, not talking about shaitan in particular, cannot be rewarded as human beings.
Pardon?
Cannot be rewarded
Who?
in jinn as human beings in heaven in hereafter.
They can.
And be in the same rank of whatever it reaches.
You know, certain jinns are better than certain human beings. Even certain jinns who are mu'min are better than some human beings who are mu'min. But as a whole, they are not like human beings. So the closest people to God are human beings, not jinns. But there are many jinns who are better than many mu'mineen. Yeah?
I can say that if there is a sin, there is something from shaitan. Or I can say I did it myself.
If there is a sin, it's not necessarily from shaitan, but there is a possibility that shaitan was involved by bringing temptations.
So maybe I commit a sin and I do it myself.
إنما دعوتكم. Shaitan can call you, invite you. But shaitan cannot force you. لا تلوموني لوموا أنفسكم.
I want to say it from another side. I mean,
Oh.
if there is a sin, can you say that that person he did it himself
Yeah?
without getting help of shaitan?
Shaitan can help, but at the end, you are the one who makes the decision. And therefore, you are responsible. If shaitan was also involved, shaitan also is responsible and he will be punished for that. But you cannot shift the responsibility to shaitan and say, I had no role, it was shaitan. No. The ultimate decision comes from the person.
What about beginning of that?
Everything. If you don't have control, then you are not responsible. You are morally excused.
In the case that Satan has no role unless his temptation, so his punishment in hereafter doesn't make any sense. Because in this case he would not deserve, because he has no control over human beings. So his punishment is against Allah's justice.
If I always go to your, for example, little brother or child and, try to misguide him and, use everything to bring temptations, I'm not responsible. I'm responsible.
Is there a significance why? Sorry. Is there significance why the order shaitan was an implication and not a direct order?
I think maybe because he was not that significant to be addressed independently. The address was mostly for the angels.
It was because he was there, while you're there, we might as well do it.
It did, this command made a distinction between angels who were really good and Iblis who was just with them. Yeah? Sometime in dunya, for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you are with good people, but you are just with them. That you are one of them. One big test shows the difference. Yes.
So angels have free will?
No. Free will in the sense of choice?
No.
No. Or very limited.
So why then in the Quran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, when he's talking about giving the command, he's saying everyone, all the angels frustrated. I'm just paraphrasing here, except Adam, because at the end of the day,
Except Iblis.
Sorry. Except Iblis. Well, why is he trying to emphasize that everyone frustrated when, at the end of the day, they didn't have a choice in frustrating? If they had no choice in doing it, why is Allah trying to distinguish between Iblis and the angels? For example, why did in that verse did he just not write? In that verse, does it just is it not said Iblis did not frustrate? What is the necessity of putting the angels frustrated when they didn't have a choice in frustrating?
No. They don't have choice in the sense that they don't have any conflicting desire. So Allah asked them to do sajda and they freely did sajda. But why did they freely did sajda? Because they don't have shahwa, they don't have arrogance. So what they do it freely, but not by choosing between conflicting desires. So irada is there, but intikhab is not there. So there is will, but not choice. Like Allah Himself. Allah Himself doesn't have conflicting desires. But He is not forced, He is not majboor. He is murid, but at the same time, He has only good qualities.
Yeah, but if it's not there, then why put that verse, why put that little bit in the Quran? Because if at the end of the day, you're trying to distinguish between Iblis and the angels.
Yeah, this is the way to distinguish. To say to people that angels, all of them did sajda, but Iblis didn't do sajda. Allah commanded and they all obeyed. Iblis didn't obey. So by reflecting on this, you realize the difference between angels and Iblis. Yes. You have a question?
You said angels have will, not selection.
Yeah.
But if they are forced to select something by just one thing, yeah?
They're not forced.
But
They do it voluntarily. They do it voluntarily. They do good things and they want to do good things. It's not that they have desire for bad things as well. They desire good things and they do them.
if they can't make any choice, because there is no other.
They don't choose. They don't choose between good and bad.
They can't choose, but they have just one thing.
To choose something bad is not a kind of a strength that you say they can't. You know, to choose bad thing is not something a good quality that say, oh, they don't have this quality. It's like Allah Himself. Allah can do everything, but Allah never does bad things. So you want to say Allah cannot do bad things, but you have to be careful that this is not a sign of weakness or limit. He cannot do bad things in the sense that bad things are so, low that they have no relation with Allah. From someone pure, you cannot expect impure actions. Yeah. So Allah said to them, do sajda li-Adam. Now there is a question. Is it possible to do sajda for someone other than God? Some people who want to defend Iblis, they say, Iblis was very, very much, strong in being muwahhid. He didn't want to do sajda for anyone other than God. Yeah. And even if God had asked him to do sajda for Adam, he said, no. You don't understand. I should only do sajda for you. Like two people who were discussing about whose alim is better. Said, my imam of our mosque or our village is better. The other one said, no, our imam is better. Then one of them said, your own imam, alim, said that our alim is more knowledgeable. It's much better than him. He said, no, he's a stupid. He doesn't understand. He is better. So sometimes people decide on behalf of God or behalf of the Prophet, If Prophet said something, they said, no, this is the way. So some people say Iblis didn't want to do sajda for anyone other than God. But this is ridiculous. I think if you are a muwahhid, even if God says do sajda for a stone or for a plant, you have to do it. Let alone for Adam, who is chosen by God. Yeah, Allah chose Adam. And Allah wanted him to become Khalifa. But even if Allah had wanted them to do sajda for a stone, they should have done it. Because it's not the value of that stone. It's the one who is asking you. Yeah? Pardon?
Sajda is a sign to show obedience to Allah. We do translate sajda. We just want to show our absolute obedience to Allah. So it can be towards others.
It cannot be?
It can be towards others. Then Allah orders and obedience.
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah, that is what we discussed. But I'm saying that no matter who is the one for, you are showing this respect or you do sajda. What is important is that who is asking you. Yeah? If Allah asks me to do something simple or something great, it shouldn't make difference for me. Unfortunately, we are not like that. I am myself like this, If Allah, for example, asks me to give a cup of water to someone, or Allah asks me to raise the foundation of Kaaba, I should be as quick, as fast as for raising the foundation of Kaaba. Why? Because it's Allah asking me. As a servant, you cannot say, okay, this command of God is more important, so I do it quickly. That command of God is not that important, so I have the liberty of delaying that. Yes?
So what would be a more correct understanding? That the sajda of Adam alayhi salam was necessary because the order was given, or was it necessary because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rule was in Adam? Which one of the two would be a better understanding? So say for example in the Quran, it had not mentioned that the spirit, for example, or the spirit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being breathed into Adam. Would it still have been considered important or as important for the sajda to have taken place or not?
Yeah.
Which was the two?
So there are two problems. Iblis didn't listen to Allah, didn't do sajda, and the second problem was that this was about someone that was chosen by God. For example, Allah says, why you didn't do sajda for something لَمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيَّ, or something that Allah has given His spirit. So this made it worse. This made it worse. But I'm saying that even if it was not Adam, it was an animal or a stone. As a servant, you cannot decide. Say, oh Allah, exempt me from this. I want to do only sajda for you. If you are a servant, you must be wholeheartedly listening to your master. Okay?
Can you say that, for example, in Japanese people in the culture, when they do ruku, it doesn't mean that they want to worship something. It's only the sign of respecting something. So if we say that in sajda it means worshiping, yes, we need this justification. But if you say, Allah ordered him to do sajda for respecting Adam, and he was proud, and he said, no, I don't want to respect. So we don't need this kind of justification.
No, for sure, this was not worshipping Adam. And we will explain this. That sajda is not essentially a sign of ibadah. In Islam, yes, we don't do sajda for anyone other than God. But essentially, sajda as such is not a sign of ibadah. Therefore, we have brothers of Yusuf, kharru lahu sujjada. It's a sign of respect. You may do sajda, of course, before Islam, in front of your parents, in front of, for example, a good king. It depends on the intention. So it was not, if Allah had asked Shaitan to worship Adam, this Shaitan could say, La na'budu illa iyyak. Allah didn't ask to do ibadah. He said, do just sajda as a sign of humbleness before Adam, respect. And this humbleness is asked by God. So I am saying, if God asks you to be humble in front of a person, don't say, tell me who is this person. If you know you are greatest Ayatollah, and Allah says you have to do, for example, show your respect to this person. If you ask, oh Allah, please tell me what he has studied, what books he has written, how many followers he has, so you are not a servant of God. If you are a servant of God, you immediately show respect, and later you may ask, oh Allah, I want to know more about this person, because there is a wisdom in your command. Do you understand?
So you think the biggest lesson in all of this is to do with humility. It's nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breathing the spirit into Adam or anything else. It's just to do with
No. I'm saying that is additional. That is additional. Adam was special. So Iblis knew of the position of Adam and still didn't do sajda. Knew that Adam is Khalifatullah. But I'm saying that even if he hadn't known that, still he had to do sajda.
At the point in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered this command to take place, how long had Adam alayhi salam been in existence? Because if he was Khalifatullah, for example, he was the vice chair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth. I mean, what had he done that was so special? Because if he just, for example, he's been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, that's understandable, but what has he done, for example, on the earth that's made him something different, or added, something onto his qualities, for example?
No. He wasn't doing, this khilafah for some time. It seems that as soon as he was created, Allah asked him to do sajda.
Straight away.
Yeah. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. The apparent meaning, al-ma'na al-zahiri, for فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ means quickly. But Allah says, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. Or even before creating, Adam said, إِنِّي جَعَلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So, it's not that for some time he was Khalifa, but he knew that he is to be Khalifa. And he knew that Allah has put from his spirit into Adam. Of course, in the way that we interpret, not that he gave him part of himself. So he knew all these things, and still he didn't do sajda. There is a beautiful hadith. Let me read this hadith, and then I am listening to your question. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, Amara or Umira Iblis bis-sujud li-Adam فقال يا رب وعزتك إن أعفيتني من السجود لآدم لأعبدنك عبادة ما عبدك أحد قط مثلها. If you exempt me from this, I am going to worship you, such a worship that no one has ever done. He didn't realize that the point is not worship, is servitude. Ubudiyah, not ibadah. You can do ibadah for 1 minute and be abd. You can do ibadah for thousands of years and not be abd. قال الله جل جلاله إني أحب أن أطاع من حيث أريد. If you want to be a servant, you have to do what I like, not what you like. What I prefer, not what you prefer. So this is very important. إني أحب أن أطاع من حيث أريد. Yes, you have questions?
Is there a possibility that the sajda that is being referred in the Quran and not the sajda is what you think of, like actually going down? Could it be something else?
This was asked from Imam Sadiq. سجدت الملائكة ووضعوا أجباههم على الأرض. Did they do actually sajda and put their forehead on the earth? قال نعم. Of course, you may say angels don't have, body. But I think angels, because they can take the form of human beings or other beings, because our ulama say angels can take any form other than pig and dog. Jinns can take the form of pig and dog as well. So angels can become like a human being. تَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. So they can take form of a human being or something like that, and therefore there is a possibility of saying that they do sajda with their head. So they did sajda. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى. He refused. But وَاسْتَكْبَرَ. Sometimes you don't do something and you have an excuse. Or even if you don't have excuse, you honestly say, it was difficult for me. But sometimes you become arrogant. Sometimes I say, please study for the next week. And you don't study as normal. But you feel ashamed. You cry, you feel ashamed, say, please forgive us. But sometimes you question. So who gave you the power to ask us to study? We don't want to study. We only study if Imam Zaman asks from us. So this is istikbar. Yeah. Abba wastak. People say Imam Zaman because Imam Zaman is not there. When Imam Zaman comes, then they say Allah must ask us. At the moment, it's okay because Imam Zaman is not asking anything. Abba wastakbara. He refused, but he became arrogant. He said, why I should do sajda? Ana khayrun min. خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين وكان من الكافرين. You may say kana means Sara, but it seems that kana is not Sara. It's not that he became kafir. Maybe kana min al-kafirin, as Allama prefers, means he was already kafir. But a kufr which was not obvious. If you are not abd, you have some element of kufr. Not you become najis. It's not a kufr that makes you najis, but it's a kind of ego. You worship. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. Maybe this is not obvious kufr. Yeah? But there is an ego, and therefore it's a kufr. It's a shirk. Yes.
Information regarding this issue of for example, Iblis not worshipping, in the sense that there were other beings like Iblis who also did not prostrate, or was he the only being of his kind?
Illa Iblis.
Only him.
Only.
But there were others like him or not?
As far as we know, only because angels and Iblis were asked to do sajda. Others were not asked. At least we don't have any account. There is no record. Pardon? They were not asked. Iblis, because he was with the angels, he was asked. Not that every single jinn was asked to do sajda. There are Muslim jinns. Children of Iblis may or may not. We don't know that much about children of Iblis. If they have free will, maybe even some of them become good. يخرج الحي من الميت. If they have really free will, children of Yazid can become good. Children of Muawiyah can become good. But if we mean by children, not followers. Because sometimes maybe when we say children, we mean followers. Yes. Yeah. Pardon? It's possible, but he doesn't return. Arrogance. If he repents, Allah accepts. But Shaitan doesn't want to repent. He doesn't get the tawfiq of tawbah. Otherwise, if he really sincerely regrets, Allah would forgive him. Arrogance. He counted himself to be very big. Istikbar means you are not big, but you think you are big. And therefore Allah says, Astakbarta am kunta min al-a'leen. Were you really high or you thought you are high? Means higher than worshipping for Allah in doing sajda for Adam. Higher than listening to Allah. Yeah. It looks as if he had problem with Adam, but when you reflect, you find that it was deeper. In the surface, you say, oh, he had a problem with Adam. But you realize, no, the question is much deeper. He had a problem with Allah himself. Yeah. Okay, the last point, because we have to finish, is a discussion about this sajda. As we said, sajda by itself is not necessarily a kind of ibadah. Yeah? Sajda is to show respect. Very powerful way of showing respect. It can be used for ibadah or it can be used just for respect. But in Islam, so that there would be no misunderstanding, no confusion, we don't do sajda for anyone other than God. Okay? So that there is no misunderstanding. But in previous nations, it was allowed to do sajda, at least in some of the nations, like Hazrat Yusuf, to do sajda for someone other than God, as a sign of respect, as a sign of humbleness. Pardon? It's ibadah. Yeah, but in the past it could be ibadah, then it was only for God. It could be respect, could be for other one. Now we use it only for ibadah. But there is nothing in the essence of sajda which makes it only for ibadah. Otherwise Allah would not have asked them to do sajda for Adam. Because we only worship God. God would not ask them to worship Adam. He didn't ask them to worship Adam. Allah just asked them to do sajda, and that sajda was respect, humbleness. Yes.
There are, for example, in the UK, a lot of people from the Indian subcontinent who do sajda of, for example, the elements, and their reasoning is that, for example, it's a sign of respect or humility. How would you answer this?
If they do sajda to God in front of someone or something, that is okay. If they do sajda for God, for example, when you go to the shrine, you do sajda for God, but as a sign of shukr. It's okay theologically to do sajda for God in front of someone or something, but not for that thing or that person. You don't do sajda for that person or that thing. No. I'm saying that in Islam, sajda has become only for ibadah. Okay? So, you can do sajda for God in front of something. You cannot do sajda for anyone or anything other than God in Islam. But, even more, nowadays, we should not do sajda for God in front of anyone or any person or anything, because it's misunderstood. So, although theologically when you go to Imam Raza, you can do sajda for God as a sign of shukr, but people shouldn't do this today. Because they say these Shia worship their imams. These Shia worship the flag or alam. So, even if your niyyah is to do ibadah of God, you shouldn't do it in front of someone or something, because it will be misunderstood. For example, to show our respect, for example, to our alim, we put him in front and then we do sajda for God. Okay, theologically this is possible, but people misunderstand. Say, why these people are doing ruku and sujood in front of this person? Yeah? So it's better to avoid anything that would be giving excuse to people to accuse us. It brings, lots of accusation and charges against the school of Ahlul Bayt. So we have to be very clear. Okay, I stop here because we have to rush to go to the next, inshallah, lecture. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.